So you're making good money too.
Oh, duffel bags, literally
Okay.
duffel bags. I thought I had a new family now. Well, now that's even more people that are not there anymore. I'm there for one day. There's a riot on the rec yard. 3 officers are dead. They had
Whoa, hold on.
horseshoes.
Really?
It's back to party time because I don't care, and why should I even?
Welcome to the channel. The goal here is simple: to provide a platform for men to tell real, unscripted stories from their perspectives. These are raw and honest accounts, shared in their own words. Our men have overcome harsh, unforgiving realities. Now they share the truth about their troubled journey with the hope that others can see change is possible. In this series, we'll hear from the first man to complete the program, Josh Broadwater. His story begins with the seemingly ideal childhood, but ultimately leads to a life marked by addiction, incarceration, and abandonment. Now let's hear the first part of this story in Josh's own words. Let's go. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good, actually.
All right, so first graduate. I
Yeah.
felt like it was important for you to be the first guy we work with
Absolutely.
today. When did you first come to North Georgia Works?
I first got here July 16th of 2019.
2019. All right, and so you graduated in 2020.
2020, yeah.
And so it's been almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You graduated here in 2020, but let's go back and let's go all the way from the beginning. Let's see where the story started. So tell me a little bit about your childhood, man.
So my childhood actually was in St. Augustine, Florida. I was born on April 29th, 1978. We lived down there. It was a great childhood. You know, I was born in church, about 15 minutes from the beach. So surfer, skater, just a normal childhood playing baseball. My dad worked for Bell South. So at that time, when I was about 7 years old, we ended up moving to Deltona, Florida. And then we're only there for a little while. And then my dad got a big promotion up to Atlanta. And he came up here first, and then we came up later. So I got to Powder Springs in 1990.
Okay. Well, how old were you then?
That was 6th grade.
Okay.
So
So good life up into then.
it was beautiful. And even from 6th grade to 8th grade was great. All the way through high school was great, really.
So tell me about your parents.
Just the run-of-the-mill parents. I mean, I never saw them fight, you know, never really a heated argument. Always, you know, the loving that I thought, and, you know, so that's why it was so, you know, it was just a good.
All right.
I never
so,
saw them fight.
So good parents. You got any brothers and sisters?
I have one younger brother and a younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your relationship like with your siblings? Let's talk about that.
I mean, good. We talk.
Okay.
Not close, though.
Okay.
I mean, we never really were, like, close, like, talking, you know, like a close relationship. It was good all the time, just a normal kid, but, you know, we never got into any deep conversations. Still don't really. I mean,
So you don't talk to them much today?
just through Messenger, you know, I see them on Christmas and stuff like that. So.
All right, so life was good always in high school. Then what happened in high school? When did things start taking a turn?
My senior year of high school, like I said, my parents were great. We had a close family, a lot of family, but it was early in the senior year, and a girl came up to me who knew my sister, and she came up to me and said, "Hey, I heard your parents are getting divorced." And I was like, well, no way. Like, that's dumb. Like, my sister tells a lot of lies, so that can't possibly be true. Well, towards the end of the year, that ended up happening.
Okay.
My parents split up, divorced. When this happened, you know, Dad went his way and Mom went their way, and I was on my own then.
So where'd you go?
Again, I was still living at the house that my parents had. My dad had moved out. Mom had a new boyfriend there. I lived there for a little while. But as well that year, I ended up breaking up, and it was a dirty breakup with my high school sweetheart, which I had dated for 3 years at least. So
Oh, so you had a girlfriend almost the entire time in high school.
I met her the end of freshman year, and we dated all the way to senior year.
So you had an ideal life.
Oh, dude, blonde
And then all of a
chick
sudden-
with the red Camaro.
Yeah, really.
For real, yeah.
And wow, and so everything in your senior year just
Right, it just
overnight
crushed. Yeah.
fell apart. man.
So this was my when all that happened, I had an aunt and uncle who lived in St. Augustine. We're still living down there. Aunt and uncle, money out the wazoo. They own a lot of stuff down there, big names down there. I can go run to them. I called them, and they said, come down, so I did. So I was running from all of that that just crumbled, and now I see this new venue that I can put my hands on, and so I'm going to go down there and start a new life. Well, that didn't end up happening.
All right. So now, before you got down there, what were you kind of into up here? Were you clean and?
No, I started smoking weed when I was in summer of 8th grade.
Okay.
And a lot of weed smoking during high school. I didn't really mess with any hard drugs until like at least a year out of high school.
All right. So you just messed up.
Yeah, playing
Pothead.
baseball, smoking weed,
Yeah.
chicks, you know,
All
just
right.
it was my high school was. I mean that arena was a great time. I had a good time in high school.
All right. So you get down to St. Augustine and you're kind of a loaded grenade about to
Yeah.
go off, man. So
Oh,
tell
yeah.
me about how that unfolded.
So, I mean, I get down there, right when I get down there, go to my uncle's house. You know, I get there, he sees me, I got blonde hair, earrings in my ear, and he's like, you've got to change that haircut and you got to take those earrings out or you are not staying here. I said, yes, sir. Well, after that, he hands me a check and it has $500 on that check. He said, here's you something just to get you started. So, you know, it was like, I was like, all right, you know, I'm kind of feeling good. You know, this is a good omen. This is
Okay.
going to be a good thing. The first person that I meet down there, and not even trying to meet anybody, I'm just riding around because remembering the place. Oh, I remember this. Yeah, from a kid. And we just ended up, I had a Toyota truck, big jacked up Toyota truck at that time. Dude just had another Toyota truck. Met this guy. And then within that night, we go downtown St. Augustine, which used to be this grand thing. And now it's just nothing but drugs down there. I mean, like psychedelics, cocaine was real big. And so I just came from here and just went to something even worse.
So you went 0 to 60 pretty fast.
Oh, yeah, in one highway. Down there.
Literally.
Yeah.
So what all did you get involved with once you were there? I know, I mean, obviously drugs, but I mean, how deep did you go? How long did it last?
Right when I got there, you know, my aunt and uncle helped me out. They had connections, so they got me a job at a lumber yard. I was working there. They set me up with a house and everything. So, I mean, I had everything needed. But again, I ended up meeting this other dude. So he had a Nissan Altima, a sweet car. We ended up trading cars. Well, then he's got, oh, I got this house on the beach, man. Dude had a beach house, sweet beach house. His uncle's loaded, sending him money all the time. So then I moved to this house. Well, right when I moved there, I stopped really caring about work. So I ended up losing that job. And then I'm staying at this house, this beach house, and we're partying Monday through Sunday. I mean, like 30, 40 people partying. And there's drugs running in through there, all kind of stuff. One time we were partying just out in the yard, and there was this kid that would drive by, had a Mustang, and he'd pull up, burn tires, and go squealing off. Well, just this time they did it, it really pissed me off. So I went back in, grabbed my 380, jumped in the Nissan, and went and chased after him. Found him in a McDonald's parking lot, pulled up behind him, waited him to go out, and chased him. Pulled up next to him, and I had tinted windows. I was waving the gun at him. Right around the corner, he pulls off. There's a cop sitting on the side of the road. Pulls off. I pull a Yui, go into a neighborhood, put the gun in the trunk, drive to the beach, throw it in the ocean. Well, by the time I got back to the house, there was a card on the door of this officer. Give me a call. So I called him, and I had to meet him at the gas station. When I got to the gas station, there was 3 GMC Suburbans blacked out. They were up there. I got put in handcuffs right when I'm there. And this is totally God watching over me when I should not have been watched over. Because the kid's mom was in the car with him when I showed the gun. They pulled over and told the cop everything. So then I'm sitting in the back of the cop car. And then the guy comes to me and says, all right, I've got their story and everything that happened. Here's this paper. You tell me what happened. And I'm like, You know, they're charging me with assault with a deadly weapon is what the charge is for. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I start writing this story that I had met a girl at the beach that had a keychain and it had a Maglite flashlight on it. That's what I had in my hand, shaking it, trying to scare the kid. I write the whole thing down, give it to him. Cop takes it out there, comes back in, gets in the car. We start pulling out. He's taking me home. He's sitting out there reading it with the other guy, and he's like, I know this is BS, right? And I was like, it's totally what happened, man. He's like, you know what? Since we can't find the gun, we can't have any evidence, I'm going to take you home. But, we have your information. If we need to come back and talk to you, we will. And that's how it ended. And I mean...
So in other words, you're talking about just a lot of the cops and it all works out for you? Is that the moral of the story?
Yeah.
Let's hope that story doesn't get out there too much. So you dodged a bullet there. How old were you when you dodged that bullet, though, man? I'm trying to keep track here. Still young, 20s?
Yeah, early 20s.
Did that scare you straight, or did we keep on going down?
Actually, it was a funny story that I told for a long time. Like, check this out, what happened. It did end up... It kind of scared me. Yeah. And that was one of the reasons why I left when I did. So.
All right. So eventually you just run this party lifestyle kind of into the ground, or?
We went from that to, me and this dude, and like I said, his dad was some banker president in New York. We'd send him $13,000 a month. His parents were loaded, grandparents $4,000. So we'd go to Key West at least once a month and pick up a kilo of coke from this guy that would just kayak it out in the ocean and drop it and go scuba and get it. And we'd just meet him, come back to his mom's house, break it up in his closet. Yeah. So it went from that to that. And then his mom.
So you were selling at this point.
Oh yeah.
So hold on. Big. So you're in full drug. You're in an actual criminal enterprise worth of drugs. So yeah. So you're making good money too.
Oh. Duffel bags, literally duffel bags.
Okay, so how did that whole gravy train come to an end?
The whole thing came to an end, and this is maybe 98, 99, right around there. After all that, now Justin's mom worked at this bank down there, and she was one of the high executives. Well, she tells us that on this little window that's by the drive-by, this little window does not have an alarm on it. She gives us the alarm code to the bank. So there's this little window that we can get in, and then we know the bank. So we had started getting a scheme going of we're going to rob this bank. Okay. And we're getting guns up. We're drawing it out. We'd already been in the bank looking where's what. All right, we need to do this. We need to get in here, this, that. Planning a bank robbery. And that was the final thing that I was just like, it was like a week before we were going to do it. And I got to go.
So you just panicked and ran?
Yeah, I didn't take anything. I got in my truck and drove back to Florida. Didn't even take anything, money or nothing. I don't even think I had a wallet. I just gone. Halfway getting back up to Georgia, I'm running out of gas. I pull over at some podunk gas station in South Georgia, filling up the truck and put it in and drive off and steal gas just to get back up here.
Wow. So did they, by the way, I got to ask, did they rob the bank, by the way?
I don't even know what ended up happening after that, actually.
So, all right.
The only thing I heard after that was when I came back up here, I was living with my dad in some apartments. A couple months after that, my aunt sent my dad a newspaper clipping that had my name in it that was wanted for, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and this and that. And then I guess it just ended up statute of limitations, and I never heard anything about it.
Until they see this video and find out where you are. And just get you in jail. They go, there's that guy, man. Wait, so did you have another incident with a gun, or is this still from the first one?
No, that's it. That was what that newspaper clipping was about. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you come back to Georgia, move back in with your dad.
Yeah.
Did things turn around for you then, or did we still going down the rabbit hole here?
Yeah, it quieted way down from what that was, but yeah.
Well, bank robbery is pretty. Right. Yeah, I hope so.
It was just the same hanging out, smoking, going to concerts, just working a normal job, not really any kind of direction, just living off of what's going on. I mean, it was fine. Nobody was getting, popped or anything, and I had a job,
So how long did that kind of functional addiction last?
several years.
Really?
Yeah. 98 till 2003.
All right, so what happened that kind of broke that up?
In 2000, I got a bright idea to swing down to Panama City and take 6 or 7 grams of some really good weed and scales and baggies, and I was going to go down there and sell it. Well, get down there drinking the whole way down, just car full of people. We get down there, I roll that night, I take a roll, some ecstasy that night. By the next morning, we wake up that next morning and we're going to Club La Vila. Well, Club La Vila, and we're hanging out on the beach.
Nothing
right
good happens at Club La Vila.
Never. So we're out in front of Club La Vila. My brother's there. He comes up. He's like, hey, man, I'm just going to go smoke a bowl. I had a brand new Isuzu Rodeo at that time. It was sweet, brand spanking new. So he goes. I'm not even thinking about it. We go to get off the beach to go home or go back to the hotel. Right as I get to the Isuzu, 2 beach cops come up to me. Is this your vehicle? I said, yes. They put the handcuffs on me, my girlfriend at the time, and the 2 other people that just walked up with me. My buddy Casey standing there. Right when the cops go over to him, he looks out and goes, taking off, just runs out in the parking lot. He ends up getting tackled. They bring him back. So they take me to the this little beach precinct, because these were like beach cops. Mm-hmm. They were obviously walking around the parking lot. What ended up happening is my brother left the bowl sitting on the console of the vehicle. So they've been walking around, because right when I came out, they put the handcuffs on me and they went right to the glove box and got all my stuff. And again, is this yours? And I don't know. I've never seen that before.
I just had a Maglite flashlight, right?
Yeah. So they take me to the beach precinct, and literally while I'm there, one of the cops, just the cockiest dude ever, and he still has my bag of weed, goes and, oh man, that is some good weed right there. Takes a pinch, put it in his pocket, and clips my scales on his pocket. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, what do you think about that? And I was like, all right, I see what y'all doing. So
did you get arrested for that, I'm assuming?
I got arrested and I spent, I don't know, 2 weeks in like a Panama City, Bay County jail. Mm-hmm. And then all I had to do was just call Dad, and he came down, $5,000, bailed me out of jail. And I got 3 years probation for that, because that was my first offense.
That's your first time?
NOLO.
Okay.
NOLO contention, not saying yes I did or no. Mm-hmm. So because it was the first time. So I got 3 years probation. Probation officer in Florida, but since I was living in Georgia, I had one up here also because I was living here. So 2 probation officers, and then all the things and fines and fees that comes along with that. So, all
right, so you're on the got your first record there. Mm-hmm. So where, so you said about 2003. Looks like you might have run into some more trouble.
Yeah.
Or actually something happened. So what happened around that time that kind of took things to another level for you?
Yeah, from when I got popped to that, and I was on probation, still came right back up here. I wasn't paying fines.
Oh, yeah.
I was just on I was on the low call list, so all I had to do was call in.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. The whole time I was on it, I never got drug tested. I never saw a probation officer. More than one time, the probation officer would get switched to some other person who didn't even really know me. So I just had to call in all the time. So I was not paying fines, didn't do any of the community service, nothing, for a good year and a half. And then altercation ended up happening at the house that I was living at with my sister and somebody. Okay. So the cops got called, sheriffs got called. Well, when they got called, they ran everybody's name. Well, when they ran everybody's name, I had an arrest warrant out for me for Bay County in Florida. So I was like, oh, what is this going on? I didn't know anything about this, so that was good. So ended up going to jail for that, getting extradited from Paulding County all the way down to Panama City in a little bitty extradition van, which was the worst ride of my entire life. It took 3 days to get from here to Bay County because they went all the way down to Fort Lauderdale, dropping people off the whole time, all the way to Fort Lauderdale, and I was the last to come back up. So I mean, it was just miserable ride.
So how long did you stay in the Pokey then?
It was 6 months or so in Bay County, but then they came at me first with 48 months DOC, which at that time I had to ask, like, what is DOC?
Yeah.
Like Department of Corrections, like prison.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like, I'm not
jail,
doing
but prison,
48 months for a first violation. Like, no, you're going to have to do better than that. So maybe about a month or so, public pretender comes back and says, all right, this is it, 24 months DOC. And I said, the only way I'll do it is I can't have paper after this. Like, I don't want probation. I'll do the 24, but I'm done after that. And so that's the deal that we made, 24 months DOC.
2 years in actual prison, not jail, but in
big
prison.
Boy jail, yeah. So
how was that experience for you? How were those 2 years?
Man, from going from a county jail, and the way they do it in Florida, I don't know how they do it in Georgia, but in Florida, you go to your first camp, which is like a local camp, which is just to get you basically in the system, and then they assign you your final camp that you're going to do your time at. This place, man, it was a wake-up call like crazy. I mean, you get there, you get your head shaved, you're on a bus, you're going to this place. I was staying in like an outside dorm kind of, and it was, you get up at this time, now you get in this line, and you don't cross that, and you're going to go here and eat. They'll give you a letter to tell you what camp you're going to. And I remember sitting on my bunk getting that letter, and I was sitting across from the other guy that was at the next bunk. I didn't know him or anything. And I'm reading the thing, and he's like, so what camp you get? And I said, well, it says Washington CI. And dude was like, what? I was like, Washington CI. And he's like, do you know what that is? I was like, I have no idea. He's like, dude, that's a psych camp. Like, they have psychotic patients on that camp from 1 to 5. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I'm a first violation, easy drug offender. I'm not like a,
Yeah.
I'm not.
They escalated on you, huh?
Yes. So, but, again, at that time, I was just like, whatever, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to this place. I was just along for the ride. Well, I get there. The day after I get there, I'm there for 1 day. There's a riot on the rec yard. 3 officers are dead. They had horseshoes.
Hold on. Really?
Oh,
Like a
yeah.
real riot,
Yes.
not a scuffle.
No.
So you're there 1 day.
Yes.
And
This happened
man,
the day after I get there. Right on the rec yard. 3 officers killed. I mean, big deal. The whole place gets shut down. Everybody on your bunk, 24 hours on your bunk.
now were you a witness to any of this, or is it?
No,
I mean,
it happened out.
somewhere-
Yeah, I was in bunk, but still, I mean that's
right off the
basically
bat.
day
Welcome,
one.
welcome to prison. Yeah.
Yes, and just in there, and I didn't see any of this, but just knowing it happened and that these people are still
Here.
in this place, it could happen to me.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a guard there one time that one guy pulled a fire extinguisher off the wall and just beat the guy to death. Punks in there that they get mad because you're talking to somebody else, and they'll, stomp your head till your brains come out in the bathroom. I mean, I would.
So you're a young guy who's lived a party lifestyle.
Yeah, everything's been great. Hadn't had to deal with nothing.
just been a dummy, but you've been living kind of the
Right.
MTV spring break
Yes,
life for a while.
It's been great.
Finally get some things catch up to you a little bit because you didn't take care of probation. Next thing you know, you are in real prison with real prison consequences.
Yes.
People dying, threats. I mean, honestly, to tell everybody here who's never really understand what prison is like, just how much you live your life just kind of looking over your shoulder, just how scary it is to be in those kind of environments, man.
Right. That's the one time in my life where I felt like I am by myself here. Like, no, if something happens, nobody will help me.
Yeah.
Like, not the guards, none of these prison people care. I think the only thing that saved me really was I didn't get into the playing cards or, gambling or anything like that. I would go to work during the day. They'd let us cut grass, or we'd go out and pick up trash or something. That was from, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd come back, sit on my bunk, read the Bible. We'd go eat. I'd come back, maybe watch a little bit of TV. But I didn't talk to a lot of people.
Stay to yourself.
Yeah, I didn't
Head
get
down.
in that. Yeah.
Keep your head down. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming, obviously, you got out of there okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you get out. Once you get out of that kind of nightmare, what kind of changes, what kind of attitude you have? What did you do once you walked out of that place a free man?
Yeah. That whole experience humbled me and sat me down quickly and really showed me, hey, this would have been my eternity if I keep doing the same thing. I'm just gonna be right back here because now I got a prison number. Now anything that I do, they're coming back to, okay, this guy's a prisoner. We're gonna take him back there, and that's what would have happened. So I was honestly, when I got out of prison, I was in the mindset, I'm not smoking weed anymore. I'm done with that. This is what it has made. I get it. And that lasted, I don't know, about 7 months after getting out.
So 7 months, you did great.
Yeah.
And then what happened after that 7 months? I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's not a whole lot of support for you, and typical on your own a lot. But tell me a little bit how that fell apart after 7 months, man. How quickly you forgot that place.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Praise God, I was living with my mom, my stepdad, and they let me live there. But it was just a hard, by this time, later 20s, it's just hard to go back and live with parents, because especially after everything that's happened, I know they were just caring, but it's just hard to, I'll be back at 10, like, I'm a grown up, what? No, I want to go spend the night here. But just through that, and it was good, I wanted to try, and I ended up getting into the IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and I got into that apprenticeship school. I was accepted into that, so I started working at Inglet and Stubbs Electrical, and working my apprenticeship to be a foreman and turn out on my own. So started going through that. Met a girl at church, and we started a relationship. She was just from a good family, knew nothing about drugs, nothing about that bad lifestyle. And initially that's what drew me to her, is just that I'd never experienced that before. And it was the same with her whole family, was, just good people. They'd made good, solid choices their whole life. They had good parents, in church, knew God. And it was just a very refreshing time.
All right, so for the first time since you're back in high school, you are in a positive, normal family.
Yes.
People surrounding you. You got a community.
Right.
Things are going well. So what was that period of time like for you?
I mean, it was good. And like I said, I started working at Inglet and Stubbs. I did that. I went through, it was a 5-year program. I went through 2 of it. So because the math got really hard and I just couldn't really swing it. I was never really good at math. So after that, I got hooked back up with some of my buddies from high school that I was really good friends with in high school. Well, now they had a business building houses, and this was right around the 2000s housing boom. And so I got hooked up with them, started building houses. I was a property manager, and then I did some other things with them. I had my own LLC at that time. I opened an LLC. I was JDB Consultants, so I could just do stuff through different means. And so building houses, we were making hand over money, and
So what happened with you and this girl?
it ended up.
Now y'all got married, correct?
Yeah.
So you were married, and then you were married for how long?
The total was 3 years.
3 years. All right. So I mean, you had a good job.
Yeah.
Good wife, right? Family around you. How in the world did you mess that up, man?
Well, like I said, that housing boom You know, it was
Fueled
great
up.
while it
Oh,
lasted,
yeah.
man. But
I'm in this chair because that same bubble
yeah,
burst, you know?
when it ended,
Yeah.
you know, it was not good when all that ended because it just slowly, you know,
aware.
started having some apartments that we couldn't pay for the AC, so the ACs went back. Then the apartments ended up going back to the bank. Then this deal can't go through because of that, and we had two multi-million-dollar deals on the table when everything was going down the toilet with close church friends that ended up going south, and it hurt a lot of really good long relationships through all that. What also ended up happening through that is now I don't have a job anymore.
Yeah.
And now I can't pay for this new house that we built too when we got married. By plans, built the house. And so had it the way, you know, it was a perfect house. It was wonderful from that company. And that's how we got hooked up. So now all of this, no, I can't pay for that anymore.
So it's a total chain reaction.
Right. The bank still needs money, so we get foreclosed on the house. Well, through that company that I was building houses also, I got an opportunity to have it was a 3-bedroom ranch house, brick ranch, but just needed to be fixed up. This house is like, we got it for like 12 grand after all that, you know, and through that stuff. Well, the house needed fixing up. Something happened from going from this great white house, you know, house with the white picket fence to this new house, this thing. And when I first brought it there, it was a shell. I mean, it was, the whole inside needed gutted. But I was saying, all of this is going to be brand new. Like, the whole thing's going to be brand new. I know what I'm doing. Trust me. I guess you just couldn't see the thing, couldn't see the vision. It was going from great to a piece of garbage, and just things started changing in that, and it just got to where she would stay more at her parents' house during the week and not at this house that much because I was fixing it up during that time. We totally gutted the whole thing. So I'm fixing the house up. We got everything done. Everything is brand spanking new paint, everything. It's like a brand new house in there. But the floor was carpet. So I pulled up the carpet and there was original hardwoods. I was like, dude, this is going to be beautiful. So I go to refinish the floor. It's the first time I ever refinished the floor. Didn't do it right. So it took several days to dry, and it never really dried. We had to end up getting carpet over it. But one time, her and her parents and her grandparents came there, and all they had to say was, this floor is like this, or you can't live here. Like, this isn't acceptable. And I was like, dude, like, I've been busting my butt for the last several months here. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about. So it just got to where it was just not good. And
so did she just...
Yeah, we
hit the rocks,
mutually
the bricks.
were like, it's not what it was when we got together. This is not working, so we're not.
All right, so how did that make you feel, man? You finally get to a place where everything's making sense. You got this great relationship, and all of a sudden you hit a little bit of a little bit of rocky terrain, and everybody kind of runs off and leaves you again. I mean, that couldn't have made you feel too well.
No, because again, when my parents split, that was really the first time in my life. Well, the second because of the girlfriend. Both of those things were, the girlfriend was somebody that told me that she loved me. And my parents were the only two people in my life of anybody that I would have thought, these people definitely love me. But then they weren't there anymore. And now this is a marriage now.
Yeah.
This is the tip top of your life. If you can't make a marriage work, but then to have not just the wife not talk anymore, and that's like, okay, well, she didn't just tell me that she loved me. Like, there's a lot more in that happened. Plus the whole family I thought I had a new family now. Well, now that's even more people that are not there anymore. And it was just like, why even care anymore? And I just went, like, no holds barred. It's back to party time because I don't care, and why should I even? the smoking weed, don't really drinking, don't really do it anymore.
Obviously, something from another spiritual realm.
Yes, an evil entity. You know, I just have to stand there and watch my crying son. I can't do nothing. I can't pick him up and take him. I have to hug him, and I have to walk off, and I have to leave him.